well with the memo, with situations where it appears that Doug was trying to act as a person to be still silent in business.
Hello?
Princess friend, you have been chosen for a special mission if you choose to accept it.
Are you sure you have the right number?
Yes, your YouTube channel's the only one who can handle this mission, and it is of the utmost importance.
Okay, what do you need me to do?
You must review Zapp and Roger, all the greatest hits.
A greatest hits? Now I understand why you called me.
Yes, it's 17 tracks, a massive undertaking, and this mission needs your delicate touch.
I agree. I'll go and figure out who they are, and I'll get right on it.
Wait, you don't know who they are? I take it back. I'll call somebody else.
I need to get to work. Hey everybody, welcome back to Princess Friend. I am your host, Princess Friend, and today I've been tasked with reviewing an amazing album called Zapp and Roger, All the Greatest Hits. And I'm going to review this not only because of the ominous voice on the phone, but also because it was a request from some of the patrons. So let's get into it. If you want to stay in the loop, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you are notified directly whenever we put out a new video. Now, Zapp and Roger, All the Greatest Hits is a compilation album. It was released on October 26, 1993. The songs are from their first 4 albums together and some of Roger Troutman's solo stuff. When released in 1993, it reached number 39 on the Billboard 200 and number 9 on the R&B charts. So even at that time, Zapp and Roger were still kicking it. 2 new songs were actually included on here called the Mega Medley and Slow and Easy. They were released as singles. They did okay. Now, I normally stay away from greatest hits because it's usually a lot of tracks, and it's 17 tracks, but I was actually kind of excited to listen to this one. You see, I can't say that I knew anything about Zapp and Roger before being asked to do this review. It was actually mentioned in a live stream months ago where somebody is like, hey, what do you think about Zapp and Roger? And I'm like, who? And so many people came on and they were like, how dare you not know who Zapp and Roger is? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I didn't. But, honestly, it's an era of music that I haven't really gone and explored. A lot of my stuff was just kind of whatever was around me at the time. And nobody that I hung out with growing up was kicking Zapp and Roger. But a friend of the channel actually sent me a link to a Zapp and Roger documentary called Unsung, which I gobbled up really fast. It was cool to see their beginning and understand the influence that they had on a lot of acts that I actually do listen to, including Prince. One of my very favorite things about the documentary is how much it went into the philanthropy that Zapp and Roger did for their own community. So if they needed a sound engineer, if they needed a stage person, if they needed, whatever they needed, they found somebody willing to go to school and they paid for that person to go to school, and they were actually enriching their own community. And I thought that was an amazing thing, and I wish that more performers would do stuff like that. But the biggest thing that they're known for is their innovation of the auto-tune, the talk box, the robot way that they sound, but like way before everybody else was doing auto-tuning. Back in the day, it was called a talk box effect, and it was all over their music. It was really kind of their calling card. That, and just how funky their music is. This isn't pop funk, it isn't rock funk, or anything really mixed with the funk. I mean, you could probably argue that it's electronic funk or robot funk or whatever, but in any case, it's really funky. So let's go through the tracks that all of you have probably already heard, but I haven't, and let's see what I ended up thinking about this. So the album starts off with, I think, probably the biggest song from Zapp and Roger, in my opinion. And I say it's the biggest because, as someone who'd never really heard much of Zapp and Roger, I wasn't in that stratosphere, this is the one song on here that I actually had heard before. It's a great track, I think really defining the sound of the group. If you like this one, then you're gonna like a lot of what the rest of this compilation has to offer. It's a great dance song, and you can tell that they influenced a lot of funk music after them. Being the other track from Zapp and Roger's debut album, Be Alright is an anti-breakup song with a funky twist. I love all of the breakdowns that you hear going into the chorus. it breaks up the overall flow of the song, but in like a really, really cool way. They even go into the falsetto here a bit, and you know what? I have to admit that I actually was really surprised to hear this song on here. There was no talk box, which is what I had come to expect, and I dug it a lot. I thought it was really cool. So this was definitely a new take on this song. My biggest exposure to I Heard It Through the Grapevine was from the California Raisins, if anybody remembers them. But I've heard the originals before as well, and this was very different. It was definitely in Roger's style. This and a few of the other tracks are from the many facets of Roger, but I don't know if I'm such a big fan of it. I'm thinking original compositions are gonna be their jam here. And now we get back into the deep funk that we came to love from More Bounce to the Ounce, and now we're at So Rough, So Tuff. But wait a minute, they're really similar songs. If you listen to them back to back, I would be hard-pressed to be able to tell the difference, except obviously the lyrics, which are different, but musically, it almost seems like they were trying to recreate their big hit from years before. And even if you take a look at it lyrically, there's less there than there was in More Bounce to the Ounce. It's a pure dance track, which I can definitely respect, but it does seem to retread a lot of old ground. So Do It Roger is actually a pretty darn good one. It feels like one of those Prince tracks where you can tell that Prince was like, hit record and I'm just gonna do my thing. And that's exactly what this is. Roger Troutman with some impressive guitar skills, and it's really a wonderful jam. And it's about 5 minutes long, which is exactly the right length. Any less and I would have been left like, huh, is that it? And any more, I think it would have started to get old. I think it hits the spot really well. Dancefloor brings us to Zapp 2, their second album, where Zapp and Roger had come back together to make music again. This is another song with a similar sound to More Bounce to the Ounce, but it adds in a few great elements that really kind of makes it its own thing, more so than So Rough, So Tuff. It's another pure dance track, which I'm starting to see is really kind of where they shine, and it's a good track and definitely makes you want to dance, so they did their job. Read the title of the next song, Do Wah Diddy, all I could think of was 2 Live Crew. And who knows where they could take Blow That Thing and, ooh, it could get really raunchy. But I was pretty confident that that's not what we're dealing with here, and whew. But I did dig this track because it started adding in some different stuff into it, and like harmonicas, conga sounds, and it really felt like they were trying to experiment here and figure out what they could do, and I dug that. And now we move a bit forward into Zapp 3 with I Can Make You Dance. And this one is kind of weird for me because it's pretty repetitive. It's only a 4-minute song and it takes about half that before we get anything else other than just what we started with and the same thing over and over again. And you know me, I love songs that kind of go in different directions. This one stayed in its lane just a bit too much. It's not bad though, it's just not stellar compared to a lot of the other tracks on this compilation. So I was surprised that Heartbreaker is a part 1 and a part 2. It's only a 4-minute song. I think this song is the first one that actually feels like a little bit like Prince, as it's composed similarly to something like Irresistible Bitch, obviously without the auto-tunage. The tail end, which I assume is part 2, it actually launches into some pretty cool horns and some variations on the core lyrics. I dig it. So now we go into songs from Roger's second solo effort, The Saga Continues. The tempo on this one is like super noticeably increased. All the other tracks on here are more laid-back funk, but this one turns up the speed. The song itself is about all the things that have influenced Roger, like Motown sound, the people in his favorite cities, and each of these things is in the mix. It's part of the creativity, I actually really dug this song. And now we get our first and only live version of a song from The Saga Continues. And you know that thing that I said about covers earlier? Well, honestly, this cover of Midnight Hour works way better. It's super funky. I think that the extra energy of the live performance really heightens its effect. We all know that it's like a different energy in a studio versus when you're being fed by an audience. There's a female vocalist that comes onto the track at the tail end. She is also amazing. I couldn't find her name, so if anybody knows her name, let me know. But honestly, this was a really good addition to this compilation. Now this is one of those slower jams, and probably one of the standouts on the compilation. Computer Love is about finding love on your computer, go fig. But this was released in 1986. Computers back then weren't anything other than mostly BBS boards. But the dreams of what computers could become weren't lost on Zapp and Roger, and I dig that. This song is soulful, it has a funky execution. Again, one of the standouts on the album. So this song replaces the deep funky groove that we're used to up to this point and includes a little bit more of a New Jack feeling. And that's because this song was taken and remixed in 1993. So it makes sense, early 90s, New Jack's all the hype. It just definitely makes for a jarring shift in tone. Overall, the song is good. It definitely has more lyrical content than most of the others we've listened to so far. It's another anti-breakup song. I dig it. Another slow jam back-to-back. I'm thankful to hear more of these. The compilation had actually been kind of a dance fest for the most part. This one is great musically and lyrically, so it's really kind of hard to find too many faults with it. My only one is that I think it feels very 80s, but it doesn't make it any less than. It's a strong track. Good job.
Curiosity, so mysterious.
Again, these later songs are so deep, which I love. This one is about seeing a woman that you're instantly into, so you stalk her a bit to try to find the right time to make your move. Slightly creepy, but I actually do really like the groove on this one. It does come off a bit repetitive, but that's only because the talk box actually makes it kind of hard to hear all the differences in the lyrics, even though he's telling a pretty complex story throughout the song. And also, even though the beat is a little bit more New Jack, it retains its Zapp and Roger kind of funk. All around, really good track. Then we get to Slow and Easy, the very first of the brand new songs written for this compilation, and I love the beat to this song. Even if the rest of the song sucked, this beat would save it and make it awesome. It's a slower jam, but the beat is so busy and kind of creative and kind of all over the place, it makes it feel more active. I am likely to say that this is the best song on this whole thing. It takes all the things that you love from their career, all the stuff we've been listening to on all the other tracks, and it combines them into this one amazing, awesome song. And then we get to the Mega Medley, the other new track that was put on here for the greatest hits. And it's kind of a greatest hits unto itself. It's a medley of all the tracks we have here, which is cool to end on this type of collection. For me, I think it probably could have been left off and ended with Slow and Easy. It may have been a slightly better, stronger ending, but you know what, this is pretty cool too. So from this greatest hits, I've learned that Zapp and Roger is pretty much pure dance funk. I usually like a bit more depth. in my music. But this isn't bad by any means, especially since they evolved more later on in their career. They definitely have a specific sound for their music which makes them iconic. But it also kind of made it hard for me to listen to this entire 17-track compilation all in one sitting. When I tried, all the songs started to kind of run together, so I had to break it up. For this review, I split it into 3 different listening sessions so I could appreciate each of the tracks on their own, without them running together. But I think that goes to the heart of Zapp and Roger for me. I can see that they're incredibly talented, and just listening to them, you can tell where they inspired countless others. But I can't say that I'd be rushing to put them on my next new mixtape. If they came on my radio or at a party, I would definitely jam out to them. They make you want to dance, their music is amazing and funky, and it makes you want to move. But I'm not inspired to seek out more about them and consume everything that they've created. Oh.
I was watching this live, and I have to say, your mission was successful.
Well, thanks.
What is your final score for this masterpiece?
I think I'll probably give it 3.5 stars. But it would have gotten 4 stars if there were more tracks from later on in their career.
You have just signed your own death warrant.
Oh crap, are you gonna kill me?
No, but once the internet sees this video, the hate will be unsurmountable.
Well, I guess we'll see in the comments. Maybe you'll be wrong.
I will contact you with a new mission once one becomes available, and your phone will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2,
Ah!
1.
Hey everybody, if you have a question you want to ask me, or if you have an idea for a video that you want me to tackle, there's a link in the description. You can go to bit.ly/askafriend. Who knows, maybe I'll do a video about the thing that you asked one day. See you in the next video.